Welcome to the Militia gaming community. I'm Trigger, and today we talk about the 2017 Porsche Panamera Turbo. Let's go! Before I get into the video, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. You could be literally watching anything else on YouTube, but you're here watching this video with me, and I appreciate it more than you know. All right, let's get into this Panamera. So the first thing I like to tell you is the fastest engine. This is always the most important part of any build in Need for Speed Heat. And for this Panamera, the fastest engine is the 715 horsepower forged 5.0 liter V8. I was able to run a 3-minute 0.3 on Arian, which is like, it's not that fast, but it's also not that slow. 3 minutes is sort of the threshold for what a competitive car is and what a non-competitive car is. So this really is on the bubble. It's not that fast, and Arian is a course that has a lot of tight turns, and the Panamera struggles with acceleration. It's got great top speed, but it struggles with acceleration, so that's why you're seeing a sort of borderline time on Arian. Now, of course, better drivers can drive it a lot faster, but for me in my testing, 3 minutes is sort of that threshold. On Sonic, I was able to run a 244, which again is right on the borderline. It's not real fast, but it's also not super slow either. Like slower cars usually are in the 250s for me. So with that said, it's a very, very heavy car. It handles very, very well. I love the way this handling profile acts. I love the way the car reacts to your inputs, but it just is slow when it comes to acceleration. So when you're using NOS to sort of compensate for slow acceleration, make sure you're using it after corners and not when you're climbing to top speed. All right, let's go through this full track build for the Panamera. It's that 715 horsepower engine, the Ultimate Plus engine parts, Ultimate Dual Turbo, 5x3 pound NOS. We've got Super Track suspension, Sport brakes, Elite Race tires, Elite Plus clutch, Super 6-speed gearbox, Super Track differential, NOS refills, and NOS duration. And then of course steering sensitivity, I've got it at 0, and I've got downforce at 0. Traction control off, and drift style on gas. All right, moving on to the drag build. Now the drag build was, let's just put it, it was slow. It's rank 123 out of 130 some odd cars. So it is literally one of the slowest drag cars in the game. And like I said earlier, its acceleration is where it struggles. Once it gets into those top gears, it's pretty fast, but it just has a hard time through like gears 1 through 4. Its 0 to 60 is 2.1 with a 9.17 quarter mile. It's just nowhere near the top cars. I really wouldn't recommend it for drag racing your friends. You're probably going to lose every single time. But here is the drag build in case you want to use it. Engine is the 715 horsepower forged 5.0 liter V8. Those same Ultimate Plus parts with the dual turbo. 1x15 pound NOS, Super Track suspension, Sport brakes, Elite drag tires, Elite Plus clutch, Super 6-speed gearbox, Super Track differential, NOS refills and duration. And then the only thing you're going to change on the live tuning is the downforce. Just put it all the way down -5. Everything else stays the same as the track build. All right, let's move on to the drift build. For this drift build, it actually does okay. It's not like the best drifting car, but it definitely feels really heavy whenever you're drifting it, but it does score a decent amount of points. You could definitely use this as your drift car to get 3 stars on all the events if you haven't done that. So this is actually an okay car. It averages about 77,228. That was my average for the drift section that's right outside the racetrack there. I usually will run it a couple times, get warmed up, and then go for my highest scores I possibly can, and I'll make 3 runs of that and then average those scores together. And by doing that, I got 77,000 on average for that particular drift section. All right, here is the full drift build. I'm using the same 715 horsepower engine, Ultimate Plus engine parts, an Ultimate Screw supercharger this time because it gives you a tiny bit more wheel spin. I mean, it is very hard to notice. If you used any other boost option, you probably would be fine, but I prefer the Screw supercharger for this particular build. The 5x3 pound NOS, Super Showcase suspension, stock brakes, Elite drift tires, Elite Plus clutch, Super Plus 6-speed gearbox, and the Pro drift differential. NOS refills and duration as always, and then make sure you have your steering sensitivity cranked all the way up to 5, downforce all the way down at -5, traction control off, and drift style on gas. And lastly, let's take a look at off-road. This car performed pretty bad off-road, and we kind of expected that given that it's not very good at drag racing, it's not very good at track racing. Usually the off-road is linked to both of those. Its acceleration is just horrible, and it just has a hard time in the dirt. I was able to run a 153.2 on HTV2 and a 317.9 on Rumble, which gives it a combined time of 511.2. It's in the bottom third of the cars that I've tested. It's just not super fast for off-road. But if you do want to use it off-road, it's easy to beat all of the AI, so you can. Here is my off-road build. It's the 715 horsepower forged engine again, Ultimate Plus engine parts, Ultimate dual turbo, 5x3 pound NOS, Super Rally suspension, Pro brakes, Elite off-road tires, Elite Plus clutch, Super Plus 6-speed gearbox, Super Rally differential, NOS refills and duration, steering sensitivity at 0, and then downforce at +5. Traction control is off, and drift style is on gas. And with that, I'm going to end the video, but I really do appreciate the support. I'm in the middle of a move right now. We're moving from California to Texas, so it's really hectic and things are all over the place. That's why you haven't seen very much content from me. But I'm trying to get this video and maybe one more in before I move next weekend. So that is the plan, and I appreciate everyone who's stuck with me and has continued to watch my content, even though I'm not putting out anything new. But I will be full force. The reason I'm moving is to go full-time on YouTube. So when I get settled in the new place, you're gonna see content basically every single day from me. So for those of you who are still on the video right now, thank you so much for watching all the way through to the end, and there's a little bit of information for you, insight into the future. All right, shout out to all the Militia subs. I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.